everybody. Welcome back to another At America TV event with me, Jasmine. I hope you all are doing great this afternoon. So for those of you joining us for the first time, At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We have temporarily moved to a digital platform so you can still keep up with our events at home. So for today, we will be discussing Introduction to TOEFL iBT Part 3 out of 3. So this is the last session for TOEFL iBT. But as usual in all of Ad America's events, before we begin, I would like to share with you our social media quiz for today. So the question is, true or false? The TOEFL paper delivered test is desired by universities because it measures all four communication skills: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So is that true or false? For those of you who would like to participate in our quiz for today, you can do so by commenting on our social media platform on our YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. And for those of you who got the answer correctly, you will get a live shout out from us at the end of the program. And for those of you joining us on Instagram, don't forget to make an Insta story and tag us at AT America to share with everybody that you're having a great time with us today. So, without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator for today. I'm very excited to welcome one of our Education USA advisors here at America, Miss Santika Salim. Take it away.
Thank you, Jasmine. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday afternoon with me and Buhafil today. So, I didn't, do this introduction again on the second part because I think all of you joined in the first part. But I'm going to do another introduction just to, give a closing and, some kind of remarks that you guys accomplished like three parts of this introduction to TOEFL IBT, and I thank you so much if you are attending, from the first, second, and today is the last one. But if you missed it, don't worry. If you missed the first and the second part, like this is your first time coming in here, we have the recording and you can watch it on YouTube. If you need any help, let me know and I'll let you know how to contact me later on. And today I will also show you the books. So if you guys realize the first two sessions, we'll have to talk about some books that can help you learn about TOEFL and everything. So I'm just going to show you that the types of book. If you still have any questions, and we do have it in here in Ad America because I'm on the site, and I'm just going to give it to you later on to show you on the screen. Um, okay, okay, okay. Wait a second, guys. I'm just adjusting the volume. Is that all good? Okay. So, yeah, without further ado, I will show you guys. I don't know what to do first. Like, you guys want to see the books first or the introduction first, but I'm just going to do the introduction first and then show you the book and then call Buhafil. Okay? So, let's do this. See. Okay, so if you're first time here and you're wondering what is Education USA, I'm here to tell you that we are a U.S. Department of State network over 400 international student advising center in more than 170 countries. So that makes us, all over the world. And our network promotes U.S. higher education and students around the world by offering you accurate, comprehensive, and current information about opportunities to study at accredited universities in the United States. So as long as you're going to US to study, Education USA is here to help you and guide you. Okay, and this is our services. There are five steps, so I'm just going to go through this very briefly. If this is your first time, you can learn more about it later on. So the first one is researching your options. This is where you decide, what kind of program and universities that you are interested in. If you have like a lot of long list of universities and program, or like one or two choices of programs that you're not sure yet, you can discuss it with me or Fina. So we are here to help you, you know, decide for yourself and the best interest that you have. And the second step is financing your studies. So this is where if you want to apply for scholarship and you're wondering what are your options, we can let you know like most of our advices do LPDP and Fulbright. So that's you can try to see if those are suitable for you. And the third one is completing your application for the university. And this is where you have to submit your essay, CV, resume, letter of recommendations, transcript, and TOEFL IBT or IELTS, which is this is why we are doing this session, is because this is a very big part of it. Like the third step is a big chunk of it, and we want you to be prepared and everything. That's why we make info sessions. If you guys have been to our events before, that's how to write your essay and how to build strong CV. Those two are every month, and I'm going to tell you later on more about that. But just so you know that on the third step is the most popular service that everybody is asking education advisors like me and Tina from America. And then what we do is we can give you a review of your essay and CV or resume. Okay. And the fourth one is applying for your student visa. So this is where you already got accepted to U.S. universities and you want to apply for the visa so that you can go, right? But unfortunately, as you know, or if you guys are already accepted in this step, you know that it's currently closed, the visa council, and we are hoping that they will be open soon, so we can give you the step by step on what to do to apply on on the usual days. But then again, you will be the one who will be doing the interview and submit your visa request and everything like that. But we are here to guide you throughout the steps. And the fifth one is the last one, prepare for your departure. So this is quite a fun one, and we usually do it on annual basis. Every year we do this pre-departure orientation. We invite the alumni and all of the students who are accepted to the U.S. universities this year on that year, and then it's just to network and to learn what are the things that you need to prepare before you go, like the travel, where you live, and what to do on the first weeks, and all sorts of tips for you to survive living in the United States and studying there. But then this year we are not going to have any because obviously we are being affected by that, and we just we just wish that if you are already accepted and everything, that you start online or you can defer. So that's that. But I want to let you know that all of our events are open for public, regardless if it's online or on site in America. So yeah, if it's pre-departure orientation and you're still deciding whether you want to apply to US or not, feel free to join us. Hopefully next year we are going to have another one like usual. And yeah, that's that. And in Indonesia alone, we have 8 centers and a total of 10 advisors. So I'm going to go through this real quick because then if you're watching this not from Jakarta, you know where to contact the Education USA. So we have two in Jakarta, one in the U.S. Embassy. We have David and Iqbal as the advisors. And like I mentioned, in America, we are located in Pacific Place Mall. There's Fina and me, Santika, here for all of you. And we have two in Surabaya, U.S. Consulate General. There's Hesky there. And then Universitas Erlangga Unair, Mbak Ambar is there for all of people in Surabaya. We have one in Medan in U.S. Consulate, and then one in Malang, Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang, Makassar in Universitas Fajar, and last but not least, we are also located in Banda Aceh in Universitas Islam Negeri UIN Araniri. So if you know anyone who wants to study but they don't know where to go, to talk about their U.S. study plan and everything, you can refer them to Education USA because we are all free of charge. So all of the services that I just mentioned for you, all of that are free, and no, there's no like hidden fee or anything like you sign up and then we suddenly ask for you anything like that. So everything's free. Rest assured, and you can contact us anytime you want. Okay. So this is Fina and me. You can see on the top left there's Fina's and my email. If you want to contact us directly, you can email us there. But if you want to join us through Zoom, if you're not that shy, you can join us through Zoom every day from 1 until 9 p.m. The Zoom ID is 276-124-396. Keep in mind that we are there only when we don't have events. So if right now I'm not in the Zoom room there. So yeah, that's the only exception. And for first timer, especially for first timer, you don't need any appointment. You just come in, and you will be automatically put into the waiting room. So if there's nobody like Tina and me don't have any session going on, we will admit you right away, and then we can talk to you. Okay. Or if you don't know who to contact first, or you're not sure to go to Zoom directly with us, you can email us at jakarta.atmerica@educationusa.org. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm telling you that we have services and events before. So this is our upcoming events. It will be next month because today will be like the last event for this month for Education USA at America. And we're going to have our monthly event again next month, the Building Strong CV and Resume Letter of Recommendation. for US graduate school applications. So this will be on Thursday, November 12th, 6:30 until 8 p.m. But I know we wrote graduate US graduate school applications here, but I think in some parts, if you're applying for bachelor, this can be, still a good learning for all of you. So join us if you are in your phase to apply for the US university. And the next monthly event is this one, how to write statement of purpose or personal essay for US universities. So this will be on November 19th, Thursday, 6:30 until 8:30. So we just have this few days ago, actually. But this is a monthly event, so I just want to let you know the significance of, repeating these two events every month, because all of, US prospective students will need to write essay and then CV, resume, and letter of recommendation. So you don't want to miss these two events because they are crucial for you. And the good news is you will not be alone, because we have so many advisees who come to each of these events repeatedly. So like 3 consecutive months, they come to this event so that they know what to write when they're writing their essay. They know what to do with their CV or resume. Okay. And you can check all of our events, upcoming events, because we have more events on November, but we haven't have the e-poster ready for you. But you can always check them, keep yourself updated through our website, educationusa.state.gov or at america.or.id/educationusa. So, this /educationusa is not, it's just directly to Education USA tab if you go to at America website, okay? So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to show you guys the book, okay? So if you came in on the first part and the second part, Ibu Hafil actually show you guys the book, and this is the book that we are talking about. So this is the official guide to the TOEFL test. It's 5th edition, and it has the ETS logo here. So it means ETS is the official test, the maker of TOEFL iBT. So this is official, and you can, I think last session, someone in the chat box in Zoom mentioned that they can bought this in Gramedia. So yeah, if you think you need books, this is definitely one of our recommended, and we have it on our shelf here in At America. So later on when we are open, and if you want to come in to just use this book on the side, inside At America, you can use it as long as nobody's using it, and you can take pictures as well. And we also suggest you to have this one. It's test prep book. So this, I think this is only all of the test questions. So this is for reading, listening, speaking, writing test for foreign language. So yeah, it says with audio links and everything like that. Let's see if I can find any details to this. I think we got this from the US directly. So yeah, here, you can screenshot it and try to find it. So yeah, that's the books. And before I invite Bu Hafil, I want to let you know, if you finish this whole introduction to TOEFL iBT sessions, and you still find, and you think that TOEFL iBT is your options to to go for the application, and you choose this as your English proficiency test instead of like IELTS or other options like Duolingo, then you can, if you want to learn more, I can share to you the 12 sessions TOEFL iBT prep course we had before, also with Bu Hafil, but it's in the past. So I have the video recording, and if you need it, I can send it to you if you email to me at salim@educationusa.org. Okay, I will also share that in the chat box later. But if you are watching us from YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and other platform, and you have questions, kindly send your question in the comment box. And if you're in Zoom, use the chat box wisely. And I'm going to be there. Fina is also there. We will do our best to answer you. And then, yeah, let's have fun with Bu Hafil. Hi, Bu Hafil.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Santika.
Yes,
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Bu. All right, Bu, take it away. I'll be here with you, okay?
Sure. Thank you. Okay. So, everyone, I hope that this is not the first session. Okay. If this is the first session, then you can catch up right? You can catch up and see what we talked about, the first and the second. So I'm just going to go straight to what we're going to talk about for today. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Okay, yeah. And so for today's session, we're going to focus on the speaking part and the writing part, but which, all right, just to remind you again, okay, this is basically the TOEFL, right? All of the sections of the TOEFL, all of the part from the TOEFL. Okay, just let me remind you that you have your reading, you have your listening, you have your speaking, and you have your writing. Now, we have been talking about, for the first and the second session, we talked about the reading and the listening. Okay, just a small little taste of what the test looks like, the test items. Okay, and I think last week we also talked about the speaking, but we concentrated more on the speaking, the independent speaking part. Now, please remember that you have the three integrated. Sorry, let me just share this. Yeah. So remember that you have, yeah. So we just talked about mostly about the independent speaking, and today we're going to concentrate more on the integrated speaking as well as the integrated writing tasks. Okay. Now, just to remind you, okay, these are some of the tips that I'm sharing with you now. Okay, regarding when you are doing your speaking, okay, when you're responding, we call that responses. So do not memorize your responses before the test. Why? Okay, especially ones that you can get from the internet. I know that there are thousands of sites, thousands of tips, thousands of like cheat sheet. I guess somebody mentioned about, is there any cheat sheet? Okay, when we are tackling a certain test item. Okay, but please, right? And I usually say ini pasti bimbel deh gitu, because usually when I hear responses, then I know that you are saying something in the beginning, in the first seconds. I know that is a memorized response, all right? Because you tend to say something that's very mechanic, that's very robotic, all right? Okay, but then in the middle, after you say that certain phrase or that sentence, then in the middle, then I can really hear how well or how not well you're doing. Okay, so please do not memorize responses from the internet and responses from instructors, okay, who say that this is a good idea. It is not a good idea, and it will lower your score. Raters will know it is a memorized response because of the rhythm. So, as I said, sometimes it's going like very fast and you're sounding very fluent just for the first sentence. And after that, your real, okay, your real you will come up. Yeah? And that's when raters know you're memorizing the first sentence. That's why you were so fluent. Okay? So they will recognize the memorized response from the rhythm, from your intonation, and even from the content of the response. Okay? It's going to be very different than when you're saying something that is spontaneous. Okay? Yeah? And something that, you know, that really comes up from what you want to say at that moment. Okay, so that's tip number one. All right, now how do you feel more comfortable? I know that we were talking also about being nervous. Okay, last week you were asking me and Fina and everybody, or how do we overcome our nervousness? My suggestion would always be prepare, prepare, and prepare. The more you know about the test, that is why never sit in a test cold turkey, meaning you just sit and then you take the test without any understanding at all of what the test is going to test you, what kind of test items you're going to get, and what matters of your responses. So one good exercise would be when you are talking about these speaking responses, because usually they're going to ask your opinion, whether you agree or disagree with this or that, or a preference. For example, well, do you think that offline learning, face to face, is better than online learning? I know that most of us now have to go through, move, our learning platform to online. So it is good exercise if you are now starting to think of things with two options. All right. So, okay, so what do I think about this? Is it better to do this, or is it better to do that? Is this better than that? And just practice giving an opinion, giving supporting details, okay, to that opinion. Say your preference up front. Do not beat around the bush. Now, sometimes my students go here, go there, and I'm asking, okay, so do you agree or disagree? Because after the 1 minute talk, I'm still confused. Are you agreeing or disagreeing? Okay, state your stance. I'm sure that most of you know, or all of you know what I mean by stance. Stance is where you stand. Okay, state your what do I believe in? Do I believe in online learning, or I think that online learning is a lot of nonsense, something like that? State your stance up front. Do not beat around the bush. Justify your reasons. Next sentence would be why you say that online learning is nonsense. Build a case. Make sure that you come up with more than one reason. I think we talked about this. Does it have to be 3? Well, if you can be very fluent and be very concise, okay, be very fluent and concise at the same time in 1 minute, that's great. 3 things. But if you think that I'm going to slow down, sometimes I slow down a little bit because I have to think on how to explain, okay, then it's better to come up with 2. So always come up, but at least always come up with more than 1. Elaborate your reasons and examples. You've got to come up with your reasons and examples. And at the end, before the 1 minute is up, 50 seconds, okay, you can see the timer, right, the countdown, 50 seconds, state the reason again. Yeah, why it overrules the other option. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say, yeah, in the beginning, because I think we left off last week with a lot of discussion on this. All right, and yes, go to your to the internet. You have the professor, Dr. Google, MBA, MSc, whatever there, and this is how you can pick a few of the expressions that's usually used. All right, instead of just saying I agree, I disagree. All right, you can say I'm absolutely convinced. You can say that some people say, not me, some people say blah blah blah, but I think they're wrong, something like that. Personally speaking, personally I think. Okay, you can get these expressions from the internet. So you can easily use it also, but do not memorize it, that every time you disagree, you're going to say, my conviction is that this is not true. And every time you get a prompt, a different prompt, you always say that, right? Okay, so practice with the different kinds of expressions. You can get the expressions now on cyber, in the internet. And I'm going to remind you about the speaking skills. And this is what we're going to talk about today. The integrated part, right? The integrated part. Remember that the speaking only takes 17 minutes, yeah? It's not long. You're going to talk only for like 45 seconds, and then 60 seconds, and then another 60 seconds, and then another 60 seconds, which makes it less than 4 minutes. But why is it going to take 17 minutes? That's because you're going to listen, right? Because they give you time. Yep, even with all the preparation, it's not going to take more than 6 minutes. But why the 17? Because there are the integrated speaking part. Remember, there are two questions that are integrated. Integrated means that you're going to listen and you're going to read something, right? And then you're going to explain, you're going to respond orally based on what you listen to and based on what you read. Okay? And the listening, of course, can take about 2.5, 3 minutes. And then they will give you time to read also, about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, which makes one integrated listening task takes then about 5 minutes, right? Okay, so that's where the total 17 minutes for the speaking come from, because of the integrated task. Now, so what types of integrated tasks do we mean here? This is always the question. In the TOEFL iBT, the thing is that the question is always, the question is always sequenced the same way. So you have question number one, either it's going to be a preference, do you agree with this or that? Okay. Or it's going to be an opinion. What do you think of this? All right. So that's always going to be your opinion, your preference. That's question number one. Question number two is always going to be a campus related topic. Okay, because the TOEFL says that when you go abroad, you go to universities, you're not just going to talk to your lecturers, you're not just going to talk with your professors. You also have to go to surface encounters, we call it. Go to the library and talk to a librarian. Okay, you gotta go to the housing board. Talk about your roommate. Maybe you're not getting along with your roommate very well in the dorm. So you're going to have to talk about this with either a counselor, like Fina and Santika, counselors, right? But in the university level, of course, you have different kinds of counselors. So that's what we call campus-related topic. You're going to be talking to your friends who comes also from all over the world, right? Okay, so you listen to two people discussing a topic, campus-related, and then you're going to answer a question which states, okay, your response states the speaker's opinion and the reason. So you're going to what is that? You're going to summarize what you heard, the two people talking, right? That's an integrated speaking task, we call it, because it's not just one task speaking, but listening skill and then speaking, two skills combined. So that's why we call it integrated. Question number 3 is an academic subject. The topic will be an academic subject, and it always goes in this sequence, right? Read a passage about an academic subject, listen to a lecture, of course, about the same topic. So what are we talking about? We're talking about psychology. Are we talking about how people study habits, for example? All right, we're talking about the habits of animals. Okay, now it's going to be, the reading text is going to be on the same topic as well as the lecture. Yeah, so you're going to have to listen, read, and then speak. That's why we call it another integrated speaking tasks. So we have to answer a question later on, the relationship between the lecture and the text. You have 30-second preparation, just like the one here, okay? And you only have to speak for 1 minute. I think some of you who joined our session last week, you got a pretty good idea what 1 minute is. Some of you feel that 1 minute is, I thought that 1 minute was very short, but I ran out of words to say. So 1 minute is not short. 1 minute is long for somebody to talk, to speak. Okay, especially when you're nervous. All right. Now, question number 4 is listening to an academic lecture. Yeah. And at the end of the lecture, you're going to have to answer a question, of course, based on the content of the lecture. And you have another 60 seconds for speaking. Remember that during this preparation time, you are allowed to write. So as you hear lectures, as you hear conversations, okay, and as you read announcement, whatever that you have to do, if you need to remember to put the pieces together between what's in the lecture and what's in the reading, go ahead, write it down. The thing is, how I feel, or what, based on my experience, our students do not write down a lot. Our students do not take notes a lot. You're just looking at the blank piece of paper and then listening and then reading and then getting confused. 60 seconds, heading for your 60 seconds speaking. Okay, so use the papers that you get and the pencil that you get to take notes. Okay, so we're going to, let's have a look at the integrated speaking task. Yeah. All right, and I hope everybody can hear this. So I'm going to ask Fina whether this can be heard, okay, clearly or not. So I'm just going to test this first, Fin.
City University's choir is changing its performance schedule next year. Read an article about it in the student newspaper.
Fina, can you hear that?
It's clear.
Santika, can you hear that?
Ya, Bu, it's clear. Kalau
Clear?
bisa
Okay, so
suaranya, the volume can be a bit more increased, Bu.
okay,
Okay, thank you, Bu.
right. You're welcome. All right. So this is still the, okay, this is still the instruction part. All right. Okay, let's hear it.
City University's choir is changing its performance schedule next year. Read an article about it in the student newspaper. You will have 50 seconds to read the article. Begin reading now.
Okay, that is the article, everybody. You have 50 seconds to read it. Write down notes. Santika, can you help me? Time, 50 seconds.
Okay, Bu. 50 seconds ya.
Yep.
Okay. Starting now ya, Bu.
Okay.
Okay, Bu. Time's up.
Okay, guys, time's up. Now, listen to this one, okay?
Now, listen to two students discussing the article.
Okay, Bu.
Jim, you're in the choir, right? What do you think about what they're doing next year? This article. I really like it.
Yeah?
Yeah, the new director's right that it will motivate us.
How's that?
Well, some of the other schools are really good, so we'll really have to work hard to go up against them.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we don't rehearse more than once a week, but if we know we'd be competing with other schools, we probably rehearse more often and improve our singing a lot.
That's true. The more you practice, the better you get. So, what about what the article said about how this will help the program?
I hope it works. Right now, our program is pretty small, but we have some really talented people, and it would be great to attract even more people.
So, how will this plan help?
Well, if we go to these off-campus events and other people hear us and think we're really good, we might be able to get some new students interested in coming to this university to be a part of our music program and perform in our choir concerts.
You're right. I hadn't really thought about that.
Okay? And this will come up on your screen, right? The prompt, we call it the prompt. The man expresses his opinion about the change described in the article. Take a look at your notes. What was the article about that you read and were given 50 seconds? Briefly summarize the change. State his opinion. It's not your opinion, yeah? Because sometimes my students then start to give their opinion. No. We're talking about what we read and what we heard. So state his opinion, the man's opinion, right, about the change, and explain the reasons he gives for holding that opinion. So what did he think about the choir going to competitions? Okay, so you have 30 seconds to prepare, right? Take a look at your notes. Okay, so I'm going to ask another very brave, courageous, okay, can we have another very brave, courageous volunteer? But first, I'm going to give them 30 seconds to prepare, okay? Santika, can you help me again with the 30-second
30 seconds. Okay, well,
time?
ready? Start,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, start preparing.
Okay, time's up.
Okay, so who's going to be the brave and courageous volunteer? Okay, Yan. Yay! See, Yan already volunteered. Me.
Yeah, duluan
Okay.
dia.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Yan, you want to try it? Go ahead.
Oke, coba kita unmute Ian ya. Please wait a second. Mana Ian udah bisa di-unmute? Okay, there you go.
Hello.
Hi, Yan.
Yes, should I begin now, Ibu?
Okay, Santika is going to time you because you have 60 seconds, right? Santika, are you ready with the timer?
Start now.
Go.
According to the passage, the man described his intention to bring out the choir out of the campus is to get the music club a more exposure so that they can invite more people into registering to their music program, and also will motivate the current students or the member of the choir to get better in terms of performing the music, because being in a competition, it really gets you motivated. That's it.
Santika, how much
Thank
time
you.
is that? Thank you, Yan.
Ian.
You don't have
you.
to say thank you, by the way, later on, Yan.
Yes, in the test room, there is no thank you needed. It is for you, Ibu, for this opportunity and your
Right,
knowledge
right.
shared to me.
I'm just worried that Jan is going to be so automatic because he's like practicing with us, and then when he's doing the TOEFL, he's going to say, "Okay, thank you." Just kidding, Jan. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay, so Yan have 15 seconds left. On
Jan, you still have 15 seconds left. So what are you going to do, Jan, in 15 seconds?
Coba
You're
Bu,
just going.
kasih tipsnya dong Bu, 15 secondsnya mesti nambahin apa?
Okay,
Uh,
I think.
I have
Jan.
no idea so far how to use a lot of time to make my explanation longer or something. Please
Okay.
give me tips on that.
Okay. All right. Jan, why don't you start? Because when you practice the first time and you go straight, right? You went straight. I think you went straight to what the man, how the man was, how his opinion was. What was his opinion on this choir now, right? Going like sort of out of campus, right? So you went straight to what the man thought. Okay. Now, and you found out that, I still have 15 seconds left. So what am I going to say in 15 seconds? Well, you can say, well, then, if that is the case, why don't you summarize first what's in the reading, in the announcement? Remember the announcement? Okay. So you can state one or two sentences first talking about the announcement, right? Give a little bit of a background. All right. And then you start, okay, and so they're discussing about this announcement. Or there was an announcement in their college, blah blah blah. Just two sentences. Just that the university choir, okay, should be more what, exposed to other things, other environment, not just in campus. Then you can then state, then go straight to the man thinks that number one. I think you stated two things, right? Am I right, Yan? We can unmute Yan so Yan can speak to me.
I think he's still in.
Yes, I stated two reasons.
Two reasons, right?
Yeah, two
First,
reasons. Yes.
the first reason
Was to get the college or the institution enough exposure to outside community to invite them to join in.
okay, exposure. So number
Yeah.
one, your main idea was the key or the point that you were trying to express about the men's opinion was exposure, right? Exposure is good for the choir. Okay. And the second point?
The second point was sorry for the background noise because I'm with my brother playing game.
That's okay.
Yeah, the second point was based on the it's so easy to forget it. What was it? Is
Look at your
the it is yeah, it's for the student to get motivated in terms of their learning process.
okay. Okay, good. Because I think you mentioned that it's you get, I mean, the choir gets exposure, and because of that, then other people, right? Other people, not just from the university, can sign up. Okay, so you're opening up the choir, right? And then the second one, you're saying that it's good for the choir, for the university, for the members, and stuff like that. So you have two, yeah, right. That's why I was like, wait, Jan, did you say two? Okay, why did I ask that? Because I think you needed a little bit of a transitional marker, you know. So if you can just pinpoint, okay, so the first thing that he thought of was blah blah blah. Then another thing would be blah blah blah. All right. So that would be my comment. Okay. About time. Number one, then you can sort of like restate, summarize, and you just add one or two sentences about the announcement, and then you go into these two people. So the two students are talking about it, and the man says that he's number one, number two. Then you can end it. I think I have a question from Gianna, right? From Jean or Jana, how should I pronounce your name, right? About ending it, like a closing. And so the man thinks that it's a pretty good idea based on these two positive things, right? Just closing. Okay? Hopefully, with those additional stuff, hopefully then your timing, okay, the 60 seconds will be used most of the time, not leaving 50 seconds, okay, the remaining 50 seconds. Okay, Yan, does that make sense? Okay, probably yes. Consider it yes. And that's also some tips from the rest of you, yeah? Okay, thank you. I would like to thank Yan for being very brave and very courageous. All right. Okay, is there anyone else? Can I just have one more? Who's another brave and courageous people here who is
Ayo,
following?
siapa yang mau?
Usually the advisors have the, what is that, privilege to choose.
Okay, let me see ya,
To choose
Bu.
from the advisee.
70, we have 70 person here. Let's see the name that I'm familiar. Kita di sini ada Govindo.
Govindo udah kemarin, tapi kalau Govindo mau lagi, it's okay.
Session udah sempat datang juga. So if you still want to try,
Tuh Vina
David
Vina said
Christian
something.
tuh ditanyain sama Vina. Do you wanna try? Rainbow
try?
juga, Rainbow udah berapa kali? Kayaknya Rainbow rajin deh dari 1 sampai 2 sampai ini juga.
But we haven't heard from Rainbow, right?
William
Okay.
juga nih udah rajin banget ke event. Do you wanna try? Ayo dong di chat box siapa nih yang mau? Ini
No one yet? Quiet chat box.
Yeah, today is a bit ini ya.
That's okay. That's all right.
Rainbow.
It's fine.
Gak ada.
Okay. That's fine, right? But basically, that would be the tip. So while you're thinking, while you're listening also to my giving some feedback to Yan, I think you get the idea. Okay. You just have the same point with Yan. Yes, William. But you're not going to say the same thing, right? But I'm sure that you're going to use different words, different intonation, different ways on how to connect, okay? How to connect your thoughts, how you summarize the men's opinion and all that. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so let's just move on. Yeah, so anyway, that's why you need to practice. Okay, now I'm not giving you and telling you how to say, how to summarize it. No, because that would be something that's like prescriptive. That's why it sounds that you're memorizing responses, because usually teachers, especially prep programs, right? And because you come into a prep program and you say like, I'm going to take the IBT, and we're going to go, when? Next month. Okay, next month. Yeah, and what's your score now? And then you take a TPO, or you take, I think you should take the TOEFL practice online if you're really serious about it. And so then your score is, let's say, 75, and you tell us that, well, I need a 90 to get to the university, to to fulfill the requirement, to meet the requirements. Now, it's like in your mind, it's just 15 points. Come on. Okay? Believe me. When when it's a proficiency test like the IBT, we're talking about like a score, a raise, yeah, of 1, 2, 3 points. That's going to take a lot of time. All right, and that depends not only on the instructors, not only on the program, not only on the materials, but it depends a lot on you. Actually, how much do you want to go, and how much time are you willing to invest in something that's very important for your future? Okay? Okay. Now, so I'm not prescribing anything, and that's why with many prep programs, because of the short time, right, that the students want to get their scores higher, what happened is that a lot of it is going to be very prescriptive. And the ETS raters will notice that this is prescribed. Jadi udah kayak resep. You're going to sound very robotic. You're going to sound very mechanistic. Okay? All right. So let's go to what's actually been said. So I hope and I think because Jan and who was that? William said in the chat box, I have the same points. So that means you all should have this point. Number 2, the change is that the choir at the university will add off-campus competitions next year, right? And the man agrees with the plan. So Jan, to fill in the 50 seconds, you can actually summarize these first before you talk about what the man thinks. You summarize, all right, so there is an announcement that, yeah, the City University Choir will go to off-campus competitions, which is something new, right? So you summarize that first, and then you go to the man's opinion. He agrees. He is already now the man, because here we say that the man agrees. Why? This is your supporting details. The performing in competitions will motivate the choir to improve because they would rehearse more and therefore they would get better. He agrees that off-campus events could also help the program grow. More people would see the choir, right? The choir would be like famous, not only among the students, among the faculty members, right? But also in the city, right? Among the residents of the city. Okay, and that would also attract, of course, other students, other people, the public, to come to the university, which is always good. The university, of course, would like people to know them, to know how they do things in the university. It will be good branding, good image, good reputation. Yeah, reputation for the university. All right? You get it? Okay, so make sure that that's why you need to jot down what you read and what you heard. Okay? Take notes. All right. Okay, now you heard Jan speaking. Now I'm going to give you a sample response. Yeah, so we have 2 sample responses from real test takers, all right? And we're going to see what score they got. Okay, so this is test taker number 1. I hope you can listen to it carefully. I hope it's clear enough.
Actually, the student liked that program. First of all, his opinion was in the other school, maybe it's good, and you can work to improve singing a lot. And additionally, the program he was talk about his program it was small, but if you go to campus and student and other student heard that, they will join to come to this university. That's that's another things. My opinion, I agree with this student. Uh, that's improving singing a lot in his university, and the program is
Okay. Did you hear that? Was that pretty clear, Santika?
Hi, Bu. So the voice is a bit low. Maksudnya kayak suaranya kecil. Is it supposed to be that way?
No, but because this is taken also from what is that? A recording, yeah,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
So
so
it's not
suaranya sedikit kecil, but
yeah, because this is like original recording, you know what I mean? So ETS when they because this is also taken from an original recording, so of course the sound is not in a studio.
okay.
It's not spoken by an MC, something like
Okay.
that, you know, right? But was that okay? Was it clear enough? I think you can get an idea, a little bit of an idea. Yes,
Yes.
sedikit kecil Bu. Mau di okay? Let me just do it one more time. This time, I'll try to make it louder.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Thank you,
Okay.
Bu.
actually the student liked that program. Uh, First of all, his opinion was in the other school, the other maybe it's good, and you can work to improve singing a lot. And additionally, the program he was talk about the his program. It was small, but if you go to campus and student and other student heard that, they will enjoy to come to this university. That's that's another things. In my opinion, I agree with this student. Uh, that's improving singing a lot in his university, and the program is
Okay. Was that better? A little bit better? I hope. Santika, San. Was that
Yeah, Bu.
was that better?
It's
You did.
clear to me.
Okay.
I can
Good.
hear.
Okay. Now, all right. Now I'm going to ask those who heard. All right. Okay. I'm just going to ask those who heard. In case you don't know, all right, for the speaking, you have the highest score is a 4. Highest score is a 4. And of course, the lowest is a 1. Yeah. I have never seen a score of a 0, even though it is there. But I've never heard that anyone could get a 0, right? So the highest is a 4. The lowest, let's say it's a 1. Okay. Maybe you have a good feeling. Where do you think this belongs to? Is it more? Let's say, is it 3, 4? Okay. Do you think this will be if you were if you heard this, right? And then you're thinking, okay, this person is going to go to a university, an English speaking country, right? And then he's going to be able to, of course, present his opinion later on in front of the class. He's going to, of course, talk to me because I'm going to be his classmate, maybe, right? So, what do you think? What do you think in terms of his delivery? What I mean by delivery is his, I'm not talking about accent, yeah, talking about clarity of speech, right? In terms of the language use, the vocab that he uses, the words that he uses, the sentences that he's making. Is this quite clear to you? If you were his friend, will you be able to understand him? All right. And one more would be how he organized his thoughts. All right. So we talk about number one, it's delivery. It's more on pronunciation, intonation. And the second one is on language, the use of language, meaning, of course, vocabulary, sentence, how you connect your sentences here to make a point. And the third is how you organize your ideas. Three things. Now, and all those three things are usually evaluated or assessed, okay, holistically as a whole. Now, and from 1 to 4. What do you think? Is that a 3, a 4, the higher levels, the upper levels, or is it the lower, 2 or 1? Okay, sorry. All right. Deo, I got one from Yolanda already, right? A 2. Santika is also going to give 2. Okay. Everybody else? Yan? Bed structure. Okay, Sarah said 2. Is it rude? No, it's not rude. I'm just like, okay. I think it's a 2. Too much filled words. All right, Yan. Is Yan still here?
No,
Jimmy said,
Yan.
Yan, what do you think?
Oh, there you go. Yan is
Oh,
there.
okay.
For his- so kind.
Yeah, you know why Yan is like that? Because he's the victim. Because
What do you mean?
what I mean is that because now it's kind of being very subjective, because Yan knows how it feels like, oh my God, I had to talk and it wasn't easy. So don't give somebody a 2. So that's why I think Yan was saying 3 for his effort. Okay. 2, 3 on kindness. What do you mean? Okay.
Well, I think
Mhm.
it's actually harder for Yan because then it's in
That's
Zoom.
right.
We
Mhm.
have, more than 10% here, which I think ngaruh ya kalau pas kita mau
Mm-mm.
ngomong. And then ada
Mm-mm.
Bu Hafil, ada aku. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
I think it adds to the nervousness aja sih.
Yeah, I know. And daunting. You see, I got it from Yan. How daunting it is. I know, for God's sake. Okay, Yan, I tried to, and everybody, please remember. Yeah, please remember. You're going to see a blank screen. Jadi nggak ada muka-muka Santika. You will not see Santika who advises you. Okay, like every month, gitu kan. You're not going to see Fina's face, Fina's expression. You're not going to see anyone because you only have the screen. That's it. You're not going to see somebody looking at your face with a poker expression, poker face, right? I kind of think that gives a more comfortable feeling because no one is looking at you. I mean, you can make faces when you're like for example, you're getting confused. Oh, okay, and you understand that. You can do that. No one's going to see you. They're just going to hear you, right? So think positive. Yeah, so that's why Santika said, yeah, for Yan, it's like nerve wracking because he knows that we're here. Yeah, but please, you just remember, and you can see my face. I wanted to turn my video off so you won't see me because it does make a difference when you see someone, right? In a test in which interviews happen face to face, do you know how difficult it is to train the interviewer to not make any sort of response in terms of facial expression? They've got to be, they've got to like look at you and as if they don't care what you're talking about. But that's going to also influence how you feel because they're going to look at you like a statue, right? And you're going to think like when you talk to them, respond to their questions, you're going to think like, Why are you looking at me as if I'm not here? I'm not making any sense. You mean you don't understand anything that I'm saying? You got that? It's gonna make a big difference, right? So in the TOEFL iBT, you have a screen. Take that as something positive for you. You shouldn't get that nervous, right? Okay. Okay. So most of you agree as a two, yeah? I think it's I mean, one or two, the low. All right. For whatever reasons. Okay. And what about this one? This is the same prompt, different person who's responding. Can we try to hear this first and then tell me whether you're going to still put test taker number one in the lower end, or are you going to put then he's on the upper end because maybe you think this is better or maybe this is worse. All right. Listen.
There's a change in the organization of the choir schedule. The choir so far hosted only singing concerts on campus only, but next year there will be competitive events held in other locations. Jim, a member of the choir, likes that. There are a few reasons for that. First of all, he thinks that by engaging in competitive events, they will get more rehearsals and will improve their singing in a better way than they've been doing so far. And it will also help their choir program because although there are some people who have talent, the choir itself and the program is small. But if they go around on different competitions, other people might see how good their choir is and might wish to join the choir. That way, the size of the choir will improve, and that is generally a good thing. And those are two reasons why Jim, a member of the, likes the changes.
Okay, guys. All right. So, how about this gentleman? Where would you put this gentleman in terms, if he were going to be your friend, all right, in somewhere, right? Do you think that you will understand him better? Is it more comfortable, do you think, the way that he talks to you? Again, yeah, in terms of delivery, delivery means uh, pronunciation, rhythm, pace, intonation. I'm not saying accent because both of them have different accents, and that's okay, right? Now, and then the second one is in terms of the vocabulary that he uses, the words, and the way that he uses the sentences to make his points clear. And the third is to organize, the way that he organizes what he wants to say, his ideas. What do you think? Boleh sekali lagi nggak, Bu? Oh, okay, Finn. Let's listen to it one more time.
There's a change in the organization of the choir schedule. The choir so far hosted only singing concerts on campus only, but next year there will be competitive events held in other locations. Jim, a member of the choir, likes that. There are a few reasons for that. First of all, he thinks that by engaging in competitive events, they will get more rehearsals and will improve their singing in a better way than they've been doing so far. And it will also help their choir program because although there are some people who have talent, the choir itself and the program is small. But if they go around on different competitions, other people might see how good their choir is and might wish to join the choir. That way, the size of the choir will improve, and that is generally a good thing. And those are two reasons why Jim, a member of the, likes the changes.
Okay, and I think I have a score here. Justin, right? Justin said, oh, he presents his ideas more clearly, so I would give him, of course, like the upper level. Okay. And then Mija said, second speaker is better. He deserves a 3. All right. Okay. It sounds like a 4, Jimmy said. Okay. Many filler, I think. Filler, you mean Yes. Yes. And believe me, you need practice to stop filling in. Okay? We usually do that when we're thinking. When we're still thinking, it's like we're thinking and what do we want to say next? So we go ha, right? Fillers. That's why one trick that I usually do is I don't go but just like swallow my When I'm thinking, I'm swallowing the ha. So I'm just quiet, right? So not to give the impression of too much fillers. All right. Okay. Yep. Mirza said 3, I guess. I cannot really hear clearly, but I think he's better than the first. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Nanti ya, Vin. Nanti pertanyaan nanti ya, Vin. Right. Okay. So,
Actually,
sorry. Now, here we go. Here it is. This is test taker number 1. Yeah. And test taker number 1 did belong to the lower speaking abilities according to the raters. This response was given a 2. Some of you might have noticed you don't have to be raters, but you as a natural, normal human being, okay, you notice that the response contains some information connected to the task, but he does not give a very thorough explanation of why the student agrees. So he's like, okay, so the man says this, that, right? It's kind of all over the place, okay? The vocabulary and grammar were also very basic, with a number of errors in basic grammar. He speaks with a lot of hesitations, thinking a lot, because he struggles to think of the right words. It's not because that he didn't understand. It's not because that he did not remember, and there is no excuse for not remembering. Because why? You have your scrap paper. You have your notes. Now you can take notes. It's no excuse. Okay? Right. He also never summarizes the change described in the article that now they're going more out of campus, which is required by the question. And he gives his, haven't finished with that. And he gives his own opinion at the end, which is not required by the question. I know why he did that. Because he still had that 10 seconds left, just like Jan before. And so he was like being very creative. Okay, I'll give my opinion. Number 1, understand the prompt. Understand the question. Understand what they ask you and what they do not ask you. Okay? And number 2, this matters when you're doing something, you're responding on something that you were not instructed to. Because then the raters have come up with this possibility, maybe he doesn't understand very well the questions. That means his English is not really that good, is it? If he doesn't understand the prompt very well. All right? By the way, this is the comments made by raters. So when you're a rater, as raters, you have to be accountable. You have to be responsible why you give somebody a 2. Raters are well trained. Okay, I'm going to talk about that at the end of this program. Yeah, they're well trained and they are they have to be constantly meet standards because this is a high-stake test. This is a proficiency test. Somebody could miss a scholarship because of the TOEFL iBT score did not meet the requirement. Somebody could pass, an important opportunity to go and get an international education because the score again required does not meet the requirement. Yeah. So raters are hold very responsible and accountable. It's a high stake test, we call it. And if you're rating a high stake test, you've got to be like fit and proper all the time when you're rating. And so, how do we hold the raters accountable? By asking them to always present their arguments. This is the argument why the person got a 2. While you're using your feelings and you're using it wisely and well, good. Raters have to take themselves, away from the fishbowl and, okay, I'm going to be very objective. And this is what we call annotations, yeah? The rater's comments. And for the other one, this is the rater comments. Good. This is the higher score. It is well organized. So somebody said in the chat box, somebody said, I don't know, but I'll give him definitely, he's better than the first one because it's more organized. As a listener, you understand better, right? You understand the points better. If you did not hear, the conversation between the students, and if you didn't read, okay, the announcement, would you have understood? Number one, sorry, test taker number 1. You would have a better chance of understanding what's he talking about. Oh, there was an announcement. Oh, there is an intention for the choir in a university to get more exposure. Okay. Oh, okay. So he thinks that's a good idea because of this, because of that. Why are you as a listener, yeah, are able to understand that better? Because the speaker organized it well. Okay? And he fully and accurately explains the change in that article and the reasons the man agrees with the change. His response shows he has good control of both complex, this is grammar, and he also uses a higher level of vocab. He's very fluent, speaks at a good pace. He's not rushed. He's just speaking at a normal pace with only minor, occasional difficulties with pronunciation. So this response meets the description of a 4-level response. Now, this is the key word, description. Yeah? So you get a pretty good idea already. Okay. Before I talk about descriptions, there are descriptions. We're going to talk that, but let's just move on now. Can we move on now? Or before we move on, I'm going to give you, okay, just one more about still speaking, but that was like a conversation, right? It was a conversation. It was not, what do you call that? It was not a lecture. So just a taste of how lectures will sound like, yeah, how long you're going to have to hear a lecture and then respond. Okay, so I'm just going to, let's see if I can, I'll stop share first, and let's see if I can go to the test. All right, you're still seeing my, you're not seeing anything, right, Santika?
Yeah, Bu, I'm not seeing anything
My
yet.
share screen yet. Okay.
Yes.
So just a few. Here we go. Can you see it now, Santika?
Yes, Bu, I'm seeing the screen.
Yeah. Okay. So again, everybody, this is in your ets.org Yeah, this is eps.org. You can have this practice test that you can do. All right, and so I'm just going to quickly
Speaking section directions.
give
In the
this.
speaking
State whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Then explain your reasons, using specific details in your explanation. Learning through online courses is more effective than learning in the traditional classroom setting.
If this were an actual test question, you would have 15 seconds to prepare your response and 45 seconds to record your response. This is a high-level response.
Learning through online courses is more effective than learning the traditional classroom setting because of three reasons. The first is that you can take the courses wherever you are once you have the computer and internet. And the second is that the discussion on the classes could be more easy for some students who are very shy to discuss with friends, classmates, and the professor face to face. They can talk whatever you like if they face a computer. What's more, it could be much easier for the students to hand in their assignment. They could just send the email to the professor, and the professor can give the commentators of assignments in the email. So I believe learning through.
That was cut off. That was off, right? Now, but as you can see from the screen, that this was considered a high-level response as well, yeah? And you can check on your own, all right? You can check on your own. This is...
Read the article from a university newspaper. You will have 50 seconds to read the article. Begin reading now.
Now, this is a different, right? This is a different announcement. So usually it's more common when you have like short reading passages for this one, for number 2. Remember, this is the second question of the integrated speaking. So it's very common you get like an announcement. The one that we did in my PowerPoint was the announcement about the choir, and this one is about a new policy. Okay, so practice reading stuff like this. It's not very long, 50 seconds. Jot down the most important information, what's in the article or what's in the passage.
Now listen to a conversation between 2 students.
Hey, Sue, did you see this article?
Yeah, I did. I don't think that's a very good idea.
Really? You don't think it's a safety hazard, like they said?
No, at least not during the day. I'm pretty sure both of those accidents happened at night when it's harder to see cyclists. They didn't say that in the article.
Oh, that does make a difference.
Sure it does. Maybe at night, with low visibility, there's a safety hazard. But I don't think there's any danger in the daytime, which is when most people need to move around and get to classes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Besides, it's such a big campus. If they do this, it's going to be really hard to get around.
Well, we can always take the bus, I guess.
But the buses only run once an hour.
That's true. They're not very convenient.
No, not at all. If people have to take the bus, we'll end up sitting around waiting for the next one all the time, and we're all too busy to waste our time doing that.
The woman expresses her opinion of the proposed policy change. State her opinion and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion.
If this were an actual test question, you would have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to record your response. This is a mid-level response.
Well, the newspaper noticed that the students cannot use bicycles because it is considered as a safe risk. But the girl, does not agree with it. She thinks that first, the bus caused accident mainly because when it's night, people cannot see each other clearly, and during daytime, a bicycle is very safe. And the second, she thinks that the campus is quite big, and not using bicycles causes very inconvenient to get to classes. And finally, although she thinks although the campus support provide bus, but it's not well. It's well.
This is a mid-level response. Mid-level means it's either we can say a 3 or a 2. Okay, it's kind of like all over the place a little bit. Yeah, and you can. I'm not going to. I'm not going to discuss this because you can get this in the ets.org. All right, just go to ets.org and browse. Now I need you to listen to this though.
Now read the passage from a psychology textbook. You have 45 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now.
This is 45 seconds, and although it is around the same number of words as the passage that you got for number 2, okay, for question number 2, it's a different content, different context. Yeah, this is more academic. It's about psychology, but it's not that difficult because this is like psychology 101. So it's like an introduction to psychology. 45 seconds. Jot down your notes. Right? Okay. So you have 6, 5, 4. You have the countdown here. And automatically when the
Now listen to
45
part of a
second
lecture
is
on
up,
the topic in a
this goes.
psychology class.
This happens all the time with kids in schools. Say there's a little boy or girl who's just starting school. Well, they're not really used to the rules about proper behavior for a classroom. So at the beginning, they might, I don't know, interrupt the teacher, walk around the classroom when they're supposed to be sitting down. You know, just misbehaving in general. Okay, but what happens? Well, the teacher gets angry with them when they act this way. They might get punished. They have to sit at their desks when everyone else is allowed to go outside and play. And they certainly don't like that. Soon, they'll learn that this kind of behavior gets them in trouble. They'll also learn that when they raise their hand to talk to the teacher and sit quietly and pay attention during class, they're rewarded. The teacher tells them she's proud of them and maybe puts little happy face stickers on their homework. Now that their behavior gets a good reaction from the teacher, the kids learn to always act this way in class and not behave the way they used to.
Using the example from the lecture, explain what behavior modification is and how it works.
If this were an actual test question, you would have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to record your response. This is a high-level response.
Behavior modification is defined as people's changing their behavior based on their experiences about the consequences of the behaviors. And according to the rating too, the behavior modification can be observed both in experiments and in real life. The professor gives an example of observation of modification in real life about kids. First, when kids first move to school, they do not know the rules, so they do things like walking around when they're not supposed to, or talking when the teacher is speaking. These behaviors will result in punishment, like the teachers reproaching them about how inappropriate that is. And soon they learn to behave better, because if they learn to raise hands or keep silent in class is more pleasant, teachers praise them. Through this, they learn this behavior is better for them.
Okay. And you know why that's a high-level response. Okay? Okay, fine. So I'm going to stop here. Yeah, all right. That would give you an idea about the difference between number 2 and number 3. Okay? Because number 2 is more campus related. And number 3 is, this is what we call more academic related. Okay, so I'm just going to go quickly back to my screen again. Hold on. Yeah, and let's just share some writing. Okay, now we have the integrated writing. Yeah, so that's the integrated speaking. And now we have the integrated writing. Just like you're speaking, of course, you see a reading passage. Now, this time the reading passage is, of course, longer. Okay. And they give you, of course, longer time. It's a 3-minute time, right? And then you hear a 2-minute lecture. So, of course, the lecture is also longer than your speaking, the one that you hear in your speaking, right? Yeah. And usually it is from a different perspective, the lecture, the same topic, but it's from a different perspective or with additional information. So it's either contradictory or it's agreeing or giving more information, okay, with what you have read, yeah, with the content that you have read in your reading. Afterwards, so this is how it goes. The technology will take you back to the reading. Once you've heard the lecture, then automatically, you see how it automatically changes, right? When I showed you the screen, my screen from ets.org, right? It automatically changes. You don't have to click here, click there, because it automatically changes. So once that 2 minute is up, after hearing the lecture, it automatically changes to the reading passage again with a prompt. And you're given 20 minutes to respond to the prompt. It is usual, yeah, when we give you 20 minutes, it's usual that writers, okay, students can come up with 225 words, minimum 150 words. Now, some questions are very technical to me. Sometimes they ask, what if I don't have, what if I cannot write 150 words and my words is like 100? Or what if I write too long, I end up with like 350 words? Will I get punished for that? Right? Will I get penalized for that? Number one, if you come up with less than 100, I'm being very extreme here. If you're coming up with like 148, 145, that's more or less approximately 150, okay? But if you come up with like only 90 words, only 50 words, right? The probability is, there is 100% probability that you did not cover. You did not cover, yeah, the important things, the key points that were written in the reading passage, and or you did not make the connection between what was said in the reading passage and what was said in the lecture. And that's why you only came up with 90 words, less than 100 words. It's very short. Okay, so that's why passage given, you know, if you have to write something like this and you're given 20 minutes and it contains all the necessary key points from the lecture connected with what it said, what is read in the reading, you should have around 150 to 225. If you can come up with more than that, fine. There is no penalty. But please make sure that you're not too wordy. You know what I mean by too wordy? You use so many words and you go into circles, right? Okay. So here it is. Yeah. This is some note-taking strategies. I usually tell my students, yaudah, you don't need to like start from scratch. What I mean is that get ready. Make a T. This is what we call a T note, because it might contradict what you read and what you hear, right? Or it may, what you hear, it may add new information. So that means you make an outline note. Okay. Now this should help you. This should help you a lot This is your note taking, but at the same time, it becomes an outline. I never suggest my students to do two things different times. When you're note taking, that should be your outline at the same time, because then you are saving a lot of time and a lot of your thinking processes. Okay, that's my tip. Yeah. And I don't know whether I still have time to explain this or not. If not, then they can just go to the ETS website. But I think they understand. Shall I just move on and skip this part?
Hai Bu, so we have, let's see, kita sekarang jam 3.36, so we have about 20 minutes left. So we only
20
have
minutes?
3 questions by now, two questions to answer for Q&A. So
Okay.
kalau menurut aku nggak ada pertanyaan tambahan dari teman-teman yang lagi nonton, then if you want to go ahead with this, please go ahead.
Yeah, maybe it's better to go ahead. Yes, so that they will get a pretty good idea, you know, and of course they can of course review it from the ETS website, right? All right. So this is the integrated writing task. Okay. So this is about that's how long the passage is. Of course, you can see it's longer than the passages that you saw for the speaking task. Okay. Right. So they're going to ask you to read this. Yeah. Can you see it? Can you read it? Is it clear enough? I hope so. Okay. We don't really have to read it, but then when you read it, this is what you need to know, and this is what you need to look for. Reading skills. What is the claim? What is the passage? Okay. So the claim here of the passage, I'm just going to read it just in case this is not clear enough for you. This is about the memoir. Okay. The Chevalier, right, wrote a long memoir recounting his life and adventures. The Chevalier was a somewhat controversial figure, but since he met many famous people, including kings and writers, his memoir has become a valuable historical source. Source of what? About European society in the 18th century. However, when you are reading, this is your reading skills, right? We have an introductory paragraph and we have the main idea. So what's the main idea here? However, some critics have raised doubts about the accuracy of the memoir. They claim that the Chevalier distorted or invented many events in the memoir to make his life seem more exciting and glamorous than it really was. All right? In the last sentence, that's where you find, this is what it's all about. It's going to talk about how, okay, the critics raise doubts about what? What are they raising their doubts on? What are the subtopics, right? This is your reading comprehension skill at the same time. So, what is the claim? You will find the claim in the first paragraph. You have to understand, what is this about? Oh, invented events. Yeah? Some critics say what he's writing is not true. It's just been invented. Or there is some truth to it, but it's distorted. Okay? What is the event that he's talking about? Because you're talking about the invented events, right? The distorted events. So what is it? You're going to find that as a good reader, you're going to find it. You're expecting what are the distorted events on the next paragraphs, on the paragraphs that follows. This should give you also a good background understanding of when you write your passage. When you write your passage, you have to claim something in the first paragraph, and then you have to support that claim. I always, okay, if this is like the not the integrated one, but you also have to write what is that, a passage, yeah, the independent one, write a 5 paragraph passage with 3 sub or 3 supporting details, which is paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, and then paragraph 5 is going to be the last. Now here we will find what is the event that's being distorted or invented. You're going to find it in the second paragraph, okay? You're going to find it in the third paragraph, and you should find it, of course, on the fourth paragraph. So read also with a purpose, even though this is your writing, because this is an integrated skill, right? So first, they assess your reading. You got that. Then, remember the T? Yeah? You put everything on one side of your T. The information, the claims, here, on one side. Then, you put what you hear. You're going to hear. All right, I'm just going to go on the left side. That's why I usually call it a T note. Left, okay, versus the right side. All right. So L means listening, not left or right. This happens to be like R and L. R is your reading, yeah? And it's clear. If you just look at this note, it's clear. Loan, the first claim, event that was distorted, okay, according to the reading. The critics say the loan, so Chevalier apparently took a loan from a Swiss merchant, and according to the critics, it shows that he's not rich, right? Because he asked for a loan. But then look at the contradiction. But then the listening, the lecturer said that, no, he is rich. He had a lot of wealth. But it was, his wealth was in the form of property, assets, not cash, not money. And to, of course, get money, he had to sell his property, right? And that would, of course, take time. He needed cash right away. And that's why he asked for a loan. You get it? So this is loan, this is loan. This is conversation. This is the claim about conversation. This is about escape. And this is about the escape also, yeah? No bribe led to their freedom, something like that. So this is what we mean by a T, okay? Now, you can also practice this. Again, it's in the ETS website. You have a lot of 1 or 2, okay, questions like this, right? You want to make it left, right, left, up to you. Okay, now I'm just going to go on, and then afterwards, this is how it's going to look like, yeah? So what is it that you need to do? This is the question.
Summarize the points made in the lecture, being sure to explain how they respond to the specific points made in the reading passage.
The points made in the lecture and how they contradict the points made in the reading passage. Got it? Okay. So I think I'm just going to point out, this is a, what is that? A passage that got a very high score. You don't need to see what is that? The content, understand, because you didn't hear, you didn't really read, yeah? But what I need you to see is number 1, okay? Look at this vocabulary. Look at the sentence now carefully. The first point of the lecture disputes the reading passage. Yeah. The second point of the lecture argues. So actually, the writer, this student, is saying the same thing. But look at the vocab. The student uses different variety of vocabulary, which then shows us, the one who reads it, the raters, that you have a pretty good command of English because you're not using dispute all the time. You're not using argue all the time. You're not using contradict lagi dan lagi. It shows that you have a variety, a wide range of vocab. Gitu kan? To disagree. This is just one point that I'm trying to make. All right, how raters will rate your writing. Yeah, and for writing, if for speaking, the highest is 4. Then for writing, the highest level is 5. All right, all this, how do they assess cohesion, how you connect the ideas, right? And you have 4, all that. Okay, I'm not going into this, but you have, look at this, the raters, this is the annotation again and again, and this is the descriptor. We call it descriptor, okay? If your Santika showed, all right, Santika showed the book. In the book, you have this special chapter, which is the Writer's Handbook for English Language Learners. You have this special chapter, okay, in the book. And, all right. So, before we answer any questions, I just like to make all of us here understand that who's going to rate you in terms of speaking and in terms of your writing? Humans. And sometimes we get very, very nervous because it's human being. Are they okay? Yes, they're okay. We make them fit and proper. They go through a fit and proper test every time before they rate your writing and rate your speaking. Okay, so here is the daily calibration. I'm talking about the daily calibration. Even though a person is certified as a rater, an ETS rater for speaking as well as for writing, what happened is that they do have to go through a daily calibration. Calibrate means, so this is what happens, right? Before they are given the rating tasks of, let's say, speaking responses, okay, another rater would be given the writing, your writing, right? So before they are allowed to do that, yeah, they will be given a calibration test. A calibration test means they give like what we did. The ETS will give them some speaking responses, some test taker speaking responses in which they have to rate. And their ratings must, of course, be precise as what it should be. Okay, so that's what we call calibration. And if, for example, I was given, so this is before I rate you, if I were a rater, yeah? I'm given samples, but from real other test takers, okay? And then I have to rate, okay, so Agus gets a 3, si Ani gets a 4, Sylvia gets a 5, right? And ETS already has the score for that, actually, a 3, a 4, and a 5 also. And if my score matches the score, the benchmark, we call it, then I pass as a rater for that particular day. And if tomorrow I'm going to be given another rating responses, right, to rate responses, either speaking or writing, then I will have to do the calibration again. So this is again because it's a high stake test. BTS wants to make sure, yeah, that the people who rates you, the people who rates all these test takers around the world are fit and proper. Okay? Raters are monitored by a scoring reader, and raters have to, of course, write down comments, their annotations, provide proof, okay, arguments on why they gave you a 4, why they gave him a 3, etc. Okay, and based on the results, they will analyze whether how come everybody never gets a 4 for this particular question, for example. Yeah, and that goes to their analytics, and of course, then the item will be analyzed, whether they need to revise it, whether there is some cultural bias, okay, or stuff like that. Okay, so Santika, I think that's about scoring. That's what I wanted them to know. Okay, do I have to answer any questions?
Yeah. So thank you so much, Ibu, for everything
You're
today
very
and
welcome.
the previous sessions as well. Jadi kita hanya punya waktu sedikit sekali sekarang untuk Q&A. So we only have simple questions here. Tadi dari Jen di Zoom. Kayaknya Ibu udah jawab, tapi kalau udah, let me know, I'll just mark it. Is it okay when we deliver our answer, we do mumbling sometimes because of the nervousness? Will it reduce our score? Tadi udah dibahas ya?
Sudah, mumble itu biasa, as long as it doesn't interfere ya. Okay.
Alright, next question dari Vina. Kalau yang menilai speaking kita kesulitan mengerti kita karena kendala aksen, akan berpengaruh ke skornya nggak, Bu? So if the accent gets in the way of
yes,
kind
it
of
will.
like, yeah.
It will.
It will,
because, it will. Because remember, you've got to be intelligible, meaning that you have to, your sound, the way that you say things, right? Even though it has accents, yeah. But if then it distorts the words and everything, then it's not going to be intelligible. So that's the case. So, jadi jangan salah, bukan karena aksennya loh. Tapi karena memang aksen ini sangat mengganggu gitu loh. Jadi bukan berarti kamu nggak boleh punya aksen, no. Ya, oke.
Ngerti, Bu. So it's because it has to be understood by someone that grades our speaking ya. Oke. Jadi pertanyaan terakhir dari Abi. Tadi di Zoom juga ada yang private message aku untuk nanya. So please resend the questions to everyone karena kalau private nanti susah untuk sharing ke yang semuanya yang nonton ya. So from Abi ini, hi Bu, a question. In the past IBT exam, I used several vocabularies which have the same basic form between adjective, adverb, verb, and noun. For example, locate for the verb and location for the noun. Does the use of vocabularies which have same basic form in one sentence negatively affect the writing score?
Well, so what's the question, Santika?
Pertanyaannya, apakah kalau dia pakai kayak locate and then location in the same sentence, itu kan variasi vocabulary-nya, Bu. Nah, itu in the same sentence cuma divariasiin kayak gitu bakal pengaruh nggak ke nilai writing-nya dia?
Sebetulnya pertanyaannya mungkin Abi, vocab itu bukan vocab ya di saya ya. If you're talking about locate, location, gitu kan, localize, local, itu lebih ke grammar sebetulnya loh. That's not vocabulary, that's grammar. Karena it's a different types of words kan. Tadi kan kata dasarnya sama ya, Santika said something like that. Right. That belongs to grammar. So it's okay to put locate, location, localize as long as in the right context. You need a noun, ya you use location gitu, jangan terus jadi locate gitu kan. Yang penting itu ya. Tapi yang dimaksud di sini different vocabulary itu that means is synonym. Ini anak-anak kalau sudah academic writing biasanya belajarnya synonyms and paraphrasing. Itu.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Bu. Thank you so much for answering and all of the lesson for these 3 parts.
Can I just add something, Santika?
Ya,
Just
boleh
1
banget, Bu.
minute. I
Silakan.
forgot to show them something ya. Tadi kan
Yes.
how the raters itu dapat dari mana ya? 4-nya, 3-nya, 2-nya. Okay, I forgot to show you this. So let me just share my screen, and I hope I need to share my window. Okay, and if I open this, what do you see now, Santika?
I see your screen of task description and score on the left.
Okay, great.
Cuman agak
So
kecil
everyone,
teksnya, Bu.
everybody, nah yang gede nih.
Ya. Yeay.
Ya, okay, sorry. Ya, jadi everyone, you can get this, download this. Ini the old version. Version itu bukan berarti isinya yang beda ya. The content is still the same except it's now newer look, right? So the newer look is this one. Yang mana tadi? Nih, ya, this is the newer look, fresher colors and all that, right? But this is the content and everything is still the same, okay? So how come I cannot change it? Okay, here we go. So here are the descriptor. We call this rubrics, and everybody, every test taker must have rubrics. Nothing should be hidden from you, because this is how you read the comments from the raters kan, ya. Nah, itu dia ambil semua itu dari sini actually. Jadi mereka tuh pegang, and they are well trained, as I said. They know 4 tuh yang kayak apa aja. Karena there are thousands of people in this world who has a score of 4. But they do not speak, they do not write exactly the same. There is a range of 4. You understand? Yeah, that belongs to this general description, that their delivery belongs to this, their language use, vocabulary, and sentences belongs to this group, and their topic development belongs to this group, which is all a 4. You got it? Yeah. The raters know that. The raters know the varieties of a 4. Okay? But still, they need to support proof that it is a 4 by restating some of the things here. Okay? Jadi tadi ada ini ya, how to rate. Dan ini semua ada in your ets.org. So make sure that you download that too. Thank you, Santika.
Thank you, Bu Hafil, for sharing that. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining us. Apalagi kalau yang kamu udah dari part 1, part 2, and today the part 3, the last one. If you guys need the 12 sessions video recording in the past, also with Bu Hafil on TOEFL iBT, that one is the full one, and we have the introduction only, 3 parts. And if you decided TOEFL iBT is for you, you need to study more deeply about it. You can email me at ssalim@educationusa.org to request for the video links on the 12 sessions in the past. But I will need you to tell me, what kind of program or university that you're interested to apply in the United States, okay? And also, if you guys are watching this, I want to let you know that we will have more events coming up on November, so stay tuned to that and check it from our website, atamerica.or.id. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Bu Hafil, and
thank you.
I hope you guys are staying safe and everything to keep everything under control. All right, thank you so much everyone. I will give it back to Jasmine.
Okay, thank you so much, Kak Santika, for today, and also Ibu Hafil, as usual. Thank you so much for always filling in our TOEFL sessions here at America. So at the beginning of the event, I asked you guys a question. The TOEFL paper delivered test is desired by universities because it measures all 4 communication skills: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Is that true or false? And the answer is false. TOEFL iBT is a desired test. The paper delivered test does not have a speaking session. So shout out to Sukran Amin from YouTube for answering correctly. Now for those of you who would like to participate in our quiz next time, you can tune in from the very beginning of the event because that's when we share our questions. So for those of you who are wondering how can you develop an awesome idea at an awesome place like AdAmerica, it's really easy. You can just go to our website at www.adamerica.or.id, select Creative Program, and go to Collaborate with us. All proposals coming to us will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. And while you guys are on our website, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter so you guys get updates from us once a week. And also don't forget to subscribe to our social media. We have heaps of social media accounts so you guys don't miss out on our fun content, event update, and many more. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great day and see you at the next AdAmerica TV event. Bye-bye, everybody.